Well, this is the finished glaze job plus the glue job. That's how I set it up, with clay, 2 clay bags to support the wings, and then clay underneath the hawk on top of the wolf to support and position the piece. Now the glue is dry, and I'm going to break the clay away to see how it all lined up. I used this kind of glue, PC7 epoxy. It's the strongest glue I know of. It's a 2-part glue. You mix the 2 parts together equally. You can use a scale to make sure it's perfect. And it's the strongest glue I know of for gluing ceramic sculptures. So now I'm going to attempt to set this camera up and break away the clay. This is my studio, don't mind the mess. That's where I do my metalwork. My ceramic kiln. And yeah, there's work all over the place. So, this is where the magic happens. And now we'll just get to breaking this clay off so we can see how this glue job is. Having difficulty here. Right, the firing actually turned out really good the second time. I used the crystal glazes. Had about a cone 06 the first time, and then did a second firing with a second layer of glazes because I wasn't satisfied with the first one, and the crystal glazes showed through a lot, which I really dig, and it looks complete to me, so I'm very happy with the second firing. And that one was to a cone 05. Just, slowly take the clay away. It's all dried by now. And the plan is, after I take this clay away, I'm going to have to put some Carbondo over where the Zion decided to come and join us. Hey, Zai. Good boy. Samoyed. After you take off the clay, you look at the areas where the glue needs to be ground down, but there's going to be some gaps where it's not going to line up perfectly, where the 2 parts aren't going to be perfectly lined up. You want a smooth transition so you can't tell where it's been glued. So I use Carbondo that they use to repair cars. I put that over the glued areas, and then I use different pneumatic tools, different grinding tools to grind down the Carbondo and sand it down and get it smooth transition where you match the texture of the sculpture. Pretty much you're just trying to match whatever folds and bends and curves and texture you have in the clay. It's hard to see with this camera. It's not the greatest camera, but you try to match that texture so it's a universal 2 parts that they connect, and you can't see any seam, any line. And then I go back and I use oil paint. I use oil paint and match the colors. So I match the exact colors that are being transferred from one section to the next, and use my painting skills to go over the Carbondo, which takes the oil paint really well, and match the texture, match the color, and then after that's all matched, then you go and put a gloss. Because the glaze is shiny, you put a gloss medium, this stuff, gloss oil varnish over the oil paint, and then you won't be able to tell that it was ever glued together. So you can do this with joining two parts, because I couldn't fit this whole thing in my kiln. Plus it would be very, very difficult to build something like this in one part. Possible, I guess, but very easily, could easily break at the legs. That's a couple other, cracks in the clay that I have to fix with the glue, but I was just trying to get it together and it's stable enough to do this. So, those are two little cracks right there. You can see in the legs that I have to fix. And the reason why those cracks happened is because I put metal rods through the legs, stainless steel rods that run, from the bottom of the leg all the way up into the piece, to make it stronger, not only before firing but also after firing. After I put, glue the little cracks, this thing is solid, and it's a very hard shape to build because all that weight of this huge piece on top is all resting on those legs. So I'm going to turn the camera off and break away the clay and start to do the next steps I talked about. Getting the clay out of there, putting the Carbondo on, and then I'll show you that, and then I'll do the grinding. I'll show you the grinding after I grind the Carbondo off, how you make the texture match, and then I'll paint it and show you the finished product. So stay in touch with this video, and we will be back.